In this video, we will walk through corridor creation. In order to create a corridor, we need a few different items. We need a profile, or I'm sorry, we need a surface. So here we've got a 3D surface object that we've imported from some LiDAR data. We need an alignment. So where do we want to build our corridor? It's going to follow this alignment, which we've created from a P-line or polyline object. We need a surface profile. So here we have a surface profile which shows the existing ground elevation as we travel along our alignment. And we've also created a design profile. So this will be the elevation of the ground after we construct our road, or where do we want our road to exist. And then we need an assembly, at least one assembly. So here we've built an assembly which is basically a cross section of the corridor model that we want to build. You can see here's our center line with two crowned lanes, some curb and gutter, and some boulevard and sidewalk, and then we're going to terminate in a daylight object at a 5:1 slope. And those are all of the pieces we need to build a corridor. So I'm going to, in the Home tab of my ribbon, go over to the Corridor button, and here we can name our corridor. So I'm going to name it Design Road Corridor. I can give it a description. I'll leave that blank for now. I can change the style of our corridor. I only have one style loaded into this drawing, so we'll use a basic style. I will leave the default layer that this corridor is going to appear on. And the alignment, we can select an alignment. Here in this drawing we only have one alignment, so that makes our choice easy. If you have multiple alignments, make sure to select the correct alignment right here. And then profile. So we have an existing ground profile and we have a design profile, and you may have several profiles in your drawing, so always important to name everything appropriately so you can find them later. I will choose design profile because that was the whole point of laying out a design profile, is where do we want our corridor to be built. So design profile selected here, and then assembly. We might have multiple assemblies in a large project, and in this case we only have one assembly, so full road assembly it is. And target surface. What surface do I want to target with my daylight object? I'm going to select existing ground, and then I'll leave this box checked for set baseline and region parameters, so that when I click OK, we'll get a new window that pops up showing our baseline and region parameters. So in this case, I only have one baseline, which if I click on it, notice my alignment here has been highlighted, showing me that this is the baseline where I will apply the full road assembly that we created. So if I click apply and OK, it's going to ask me, do I want to rebuild the corridor? Yes, I do. So I will click on rebuild, and we will get an event viewer telling us that we have some errors, which is not uncommon. In order to close this error window box, notice I can't click on the green checkbox. I have to first close this Design Road Corridor window, and I'm moving it over until I can click OK, and then I can close my event viewer. So right away I'm going to save, and then I'll zoom in here a little bit, and you see we now have a corridor object. So while we're building a corridor, we might as well put a surface on that corridor. So if I click on the corridor to highlight it and right click, I can go down to corridor properties, which is going to bring open a lot of different options for us here. We've got different parameters, codes for our assemblies and subassemblies, shows me feature lines that exist in this corridor. But what we're really interested right now in is this surfaces tab. So I'll click on surfaces, and I want to add a surface to my corridor, and we can do that with this first button. On the left, create a corridor surface. So if I click on that, it gives us a line item here, which is Design Road Corridor Surface 2. Okay. So we have our surface, but there's no information on it yet. I have to add some information, and I'm going to add information from our assembly, and I want the top of the assembly to represent our surface that we're going to create. So I can click the plus button and add it to our corridor surface. And then I'm going to check this box to add as a break line. Now I'm not quite finished. I don't want to build a surface uh, that would tin between my corridor across regions like this, because that would be it would be a bad surface. We would have poor data. So I want to build a surface only within this corridor. And in order to do that, I'm going to go to the Boundaries tab, and I'm going to select this corridor surface. And if I right click on it, I can select Corridor Extents as Outer Boundary, and that's going to shrink wrap my surface to the extents of this corridor. So I'm not going to build any surface outside of the corridor area. So again, when I click Apply, it's going to ask me, do I want to rebuild the corridor? Yes, I do. I'm going to click on Rebuild, and then we can click OK. And again, I'm going to save right away. Always important to save. And so now I've got a 3D surface object. You can see the contour lines here, and it is a crowned road surface that we've built, so you can see the chevron shaped contours as it crosses our road. And really, if I want to get a better view of it, I can do a 3D orbit and look at my corridor model in 3 dimensions. So I'll type ORBIT for orbit, and this 3D orbit is the command we want. And hopefully we don't crash. I've got about 2.5 miles of road here with a lot of surface, so there's a lot of data, but it worked. And then if I click, I can, so left clicking allows me in the orbit command to zoom around in 3 dimension. And we can see here we're building a road that does not follow the existing contours of the ground. Here we can see we're bridging kind of a valley, and it's daylighting down to the existing surface. Again, over here, same thing. So I didn't do a real good job with my design profile, but for the purposes of this video, I think it works just fine. So in order to exit the orbit command, I hit escape. Hopefully I don't crash. And then I will type plan, P-L-A-N, and hit enter, and enter again to go back to my current universal coordinate system. And we're back in plan view. So again, I'm going to save. And if we really want a nice idea of what our corridor model is going to feel like, I can actually drive it. But before I drive it, I want to select the surface and turn off the contours so they're not getting in our way when we drive. And I'll go to surface properties to do that. So I've highlighted the surface by clicking on it. Right click, go to surface properties. And here in surface style on the information tab, I want to select no display. I will apply it and click OK. And notice the surface has seemingly disappeared. All that information is still in our drawing, it's just not being displayed. And then what I want to do is I want to come up here to the Analyze tab, and I want to select the Drive function. So now I'm in the Drive command. I want to zoom in, and I want to drive along the center line of the road we've created. So I click on the corridor, and you might get a window that pops up asking you which feature line do you want to drive down. Well, it wouldn't make much sense to drive on the base layer of our road, or even an under pavement layer, at least not for the purposes of this video. I want to see what the road surface is going to look like, so I'm going to select Crown and click OK. Which puts me into this 3D view of the road. And if we had not turned off the existing surface, we would seemingly be driving through the road, or through the existing ground. And we don't want to be driving through the ground. We want to see what it's going to look like after we build it. And that's what this drive simulator is showing us. So I can set my drive speed. Let's say this is a 20-mile-an-hour road, and then I can click play pause to start driving down our road. And this is maybe not the most scientific way to analyze road design, but the clients sure love it, and it's a fun way to kind of reap the benefits of our hard work. So enjoy driving down your corridor.